The Apostle Paul said in Ephesians chapter 1, just as he chose us in him before the foundation of the world, that we would be holy and blameless before him. In love, he predestined us to adoption as sons through Jesus Christ to himself. And here's the answer to your question. According to the kind intention of his will, to the praise of the glory of his grace, which he freely bestowed on us in the beloved, that is, in Jesus Christ. And so when you ask a Reformed person, what is the basis of God choosing, and I don't know how many, I pray that and believe that it's a very large number, a number that Revelation describes as being without number, but choosing the elect is not based upon anything that they do. It is based upon, as it says in Ephesians 1, the kind intention of his will, and the purpose is to the praise of the glory of his grace. Now, I'd like to turn the question around. Do you believe that God knows all future events? When he created, did he know what the outcome of his creation would be?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay,
and
so
that's why you have foreknowledge associated with election and predestination. He foreknew those who would believe, and predestination, election, is not for salvation, but it's to the blessings that he's pointed out. But now you're saying...
Wait a minute, Dave. Now you just
let me just finish, James.
You just made two statements, though, there, that we didn't get back to Matthew 23, and we're going to leave a lot of untied ends here. But the point I want to make, and then if you want to talk about foreknowledge, I'd be glad to discuss the term foreknown with you, because it's very, very important, and we've still got some time here. But the point I want to make in light of what you said before the break was that if you were saying your God, so I'll turn it around, if your God created this universe knowing that billions were going to end up in hell, and he created to where he was going to try but fail to save all those billions, are you saying that that is more biblical than teaching that God created this universe, that he allowed the fall to take place, that he redeems a specific people unto himself in Jesus Christ, and that he glorifies himself both in the redemption of the elect and in the just punishment of those that he passes over?
I believe that he can only be glorified in the just punishment of those who reject him if they have a genuine choice, and if they suffer because they genuinely rejected him, and not because he refused or neglected to give them irresistible grace.
That's not the position, Dave. You're not hearing what I'm saying. Grace cannot to neglect to give someone something means that you have to give them something.
No, it doesn't.
Mercy and grace cannot be demanded, Dave.
No, I'm not saying grace is demanded, but I'm saying if I'm sitting here and I have the option, we've got 20 people in a burning building, and I have the option, by my grace, to rescue all of them, and I have the power to do it. Now, you're going to say, I rescue 5 of them, and now this is to the glory of my grace?
No,
I don't think so.
Dave, no, you need to understand what the Reformed position is.
Let's use
the same illustration. Those 20 people are rebels, and you're the king. And they are in a burning building after having killed your family, raped, murdered, and pillaged. They are criminals that have escaped from death row in your prison, having been justly sentenced to death. They have started the fire in their own building. And what the Calvinist is saying is that even though it would be perfectly just and righteous for God to allow that punishment to fall upon them, that what he does is he sends his son into the burning building to save those 5 people, knowing it will cost him his life to bring them out. They're totally undeserving. That brings him glory. And the point is that when the son goes into the building, there is no possibility that he will fail to save those he was sent in to save.
Well, the problem is, why wasn't he sent in to save everybody if God is loving? And it does not glorify God that he saves 5 people when he could save them all. Furthermore, if he had extended irresistible grace, and we don't even know why Adam and Eve sinned unless they have the power of choice, I believe the power of choice is essential for man to be able to love. I can't even love my wife without the power of choice. I certainly can't love God. And now,
Dave, let me correct you something.
Let me finish. You correct me if I'm wrong, but it sounds to me like everything, I am totally dead, everything, even after I become a Christian, God must make me, somehow by his irresistible grace, he must cause me to live the kind of life I'm going to live. So from the very beginning, God has withheld irresistible grace. He could have given it to all of Israel. There wouldn't need to be just Noah and his family in the ark. There could have at least been 100, could have been at least a couple thousand. In fact, there could have been all of them. There wouldn't have needed to be a flood. There wouldn't have been sin if God had extended this irresistible grace to Adam and Eve.
Well, again, irresistible grace is regeneration, Dave. Okay,
all right.
So if you're saying, well, if God had just done things differently, that's true. But again, this is where the problem is. You're saying you don't believe men have real choice. What I'm saying to you, Dave, is that a man who is dead in sin will always choose against God.
No, if he's dead, he can't choose anything.
No,
that's where we disagree.
What I'm saying is that a person who is dead in sin. What does Paul say in Romans chapter 8? He says, those who are according to the flesh, what? Cannot do what is pleasing to God. Not will not, but cannot. They lack the ability to do what is pleasing to God. Isn't that what he says in Romans 8, 7 through 8?
Yes, but you see, they have to be regenerated, born of the Spirit of God. But the problem, James, and I think this may be a problem to people that are listening, I don't know, but we're somehow, as I read, and as I think an ordinary person reading the Bible, and he sees what happens, he hears God pleading with people, choose you this day whom you will serve, sending his prophets and calling upon them to repent. I think that an ordinary person with an ordinary understanding of the meaning of words would get the idea that man can make some kind of response. He can at least believe. He can at least say yes to God.
So when,
but because of Calvinism's framework, we have to go to these scriptures. We've got to somehow say world doesn't mean world. We've got to come up with some kind of a more complicated interpretation in order to maintain the position that God, nobody can even say yes to God. It's all on God's shoulders, yes, but he chooses.
Well,
not
again,
to save a lot of people. I think that's not the God of the Bible.
Well, again, Romans 9 says he chose not to save